Yes.
Good morning and welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning, Eric. Good morning, City. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm pretty much surviving,
Surviving.
or holding it together,
Uh-huh.
and can't complain. Thank you so much for inviting me over and having me here today.
No, karibu sana. We want to have a conversation with you today to, first of all, understand why you want to be MP, why you want to represent Langata constituency, but also give us your experience as a, first-time politician and how you've gotten in here. I mean, it must be a long journey and very many stories. So let's just step back into, this is JALANG'O, this is an entertainer, this is a content creator, this is somebody who is a public figure. What drove you into politics?
Wow. Number one, really, I can say I already had a very big platform where I was reaching out to so many people, and we were already doing a lot with the community. But I wanted a much bigger voice, and politics provided for that, and not just politics. A political office would give you a bigger voice and a bigger access to the community to understand them better. So it started, I knew that I wanted to go for this, and I went to school first. And after my graduation, I knew that I was ready for this. And even the course that I went and took in campus, which is community development, resonated well with the journey that I wanted to take next, and this was politics. There's something about leadership when you have so many people who actually look up to you. They want a voice, their voice, they want to be heard, and sometimes they look at you as a representation and the voice that they could be heard on their behalf. Actually, that's why I went to politics.
You say bigger voice. I mean, you started by saying you had a voice and a platform. You were reaching out to very many people. That was also endearing you to the community. You were engaging in the community. But you felt that you needed a bigger voice, and politics gives you that bigger voice. Explain.
Very simple. You see, entertainers in Kenya, unlike out there where entertainment is a very big industry, the creative industry is so huge, and most of them have even bigger influence than many politicians. We haven't gotten to that threshold here. So politics back here at home definitely gives that much bigger voice if you want to work to the community, if you want to go out there in leadership and all. So that is one of the biggest platforms that you can ever have. A seat in parliament, a seat in the county assemblies, a seat in the Senate, and even the presidency.
What more does it give you that you didn't have? You're JALANG'O. You could go on radio. You could go onto your YouTube and other social media channels.
And you are the attention of people on a daily basis.
Including decision makers.
Throughout the country.
Throughout the country.
Yes. Does a voice get bigger than that?
What more does it give me that I didn't have? Really nothing. The desire to serve much more in a specific place, a specific seat where you can actually be accountable. That is what the adrenaline that comes with it that makes it even a better thing to go for.
So it was also adrenaline, and also you wanted to. Could I be wrong to say you wanted to prove to yourself that you could do what this young man who has come from wherever you came from in your own growth and development, you wanted to attain something and feel that you can also be like all these other people when we see them.
No,
can also really. Be mheshimiwa.
Not really. If it's talking about achievements and what we can do, God has been really faithful, and from where we sit now, definitely we've achieved a lot. And it was not about pleasing my ego that, we can also do this. Let's go out and also try. No, there's a case of wanting to do something for the community.
I'm still puzzled in this sense. I understand the need to be involved in the political process. I understand the need to want to be representative and to have the means to actually bring about change because of the position you have. That I understand. But how does it dichotomize from the role you've had in the media? Because if you ask me, it is an infinitely louder voice. The influence, you may not see it as being consequential, but it is far, far greater. You see, there's a freedom that you have when you're in the media and if you have the position that you held. By the time you get to be a household name, that's influence.
That's true.
Not just influence, it's immense influence. Because people listen to you more than any other politician. They hear you. And if you're visible, they also see you more than any other politician, from the president to any that you may think of. So if you're talking about influence, these people whom we talk of are people you can call upon to come to your show. These are people you can converse with. So the changes that you think you would have made in that community or in the community you now want to represent, you can still point those things out. You can talk about them and again, let me put it, on a daily basis.
Of course, yes, on a daily basis, I don't deny. And we can, so it's not about pointing them out anymore. It is actually being involved in doing them. Being involved, directly being involved, being in charge, being accountable for it. That
So I
is
sense
only-
as a bit of frustration then, that in your previous role and position and the platform that you had, you would raise the people's concerns, you would raise concerns, you would then feel that the action that's necessary is taking too long. And
that's
you
very
want
true.
to be there to go
That's
and do
very
it.
true. How many things do you guys talk about here every day? How many complaints? Many. How many get
You've
implemented?
actually
What
just been-
if?
Just the
what
guest
if-
who was here before you, that's
Yes.
precisely what we're doing.
What if you had a chance to be part of the solution? That's it.
So this was it.
That's it.
And you
be the
get-
solution.
You then got into this journey.
Yes.
So first of all, there was issues about your nomination and all. You overcame that. Now you have the ticket.
Now let me
Has
tell
the
you.
zoning brought in a new
Now
dimension?
let me tell you something. There was no issue
Yeah.
with my nomination.
Yeah.
Forget about what you see on Twitter and all.
Yeah.
You understand? There was no nomination that had been done. There was every other places where nomination was being done. People were being thrown out. And just somebody tweeted at yo jalas pia yake imeenda. And from that, and you know, when you have following, you have haters and you have people who love you and all. So it just went wild. And there was no, I was even accused of playing psychological wars with the party. You understand?
But did you play psychology?
No,
I saw you weeping, Jalango, on the video clip.
Myself, I never wept, bro. I never wept.
No,
I never wept. No, not anywhere.
I saw you complaining at some point.
I did not complain. I didn't complain. I
Oh,
just
you
said
you were just
when-
raising your issues.
I just said I sent a tweet out and said, "How special is this Langata seat that even the nominations are now being done na watu wanasema it's been taken." You get?
Uh-huh.
Then we went for the nominations, which I won. And here I have the ticket to represent Azimio in Langata. Yes.
Are you the only Azimio candidate in Langata?
No, there are few. Zoning helped because so many other people dropped. But I think the zoning conversation also started a bit late when our principals also decided that, you know what, let's all go in, then we shall have to drop weaker candidates through opinion polls and all. But then IBC was not in the same line with the principals. So by the time they were starting to drop people off, we already had names that had already been gazetted. So definitely they're in the ballot. But they know themselves that they are weaker candidates.
How many candidates are competing against you for this seat?
That would be, we were 32 who wanted the seat.
30 how many?
32. Then IBC clearance sent us to 11. So we are 11 of us. Yes. Most of them independent. And we have 4 other parties. We have somebody from Fodasili, a candidate from Fodasili. we have NAC Kenya, we have KANU, then definitely the incumbent vying under
Under
UDA.
UDA.
Yes.
How has it been so far?
Roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster. And you see, the primaries were crazy. Then you get through that. That's when you get the real monster.
Yeah.
But if you go through the primaries and go through those party politics, then any other thing left is just you to put good strategies and win.
What is the real monster?
The real monster now is having to face an incumbent who's been there for 5 years, who's been with the community for the past 5 years, trying to tell the people that you can do better and you can represent them better, you can legislate better, and you could be a better leader.
That doesn't sound like a monster. That just sounds like, engaging with the people and convincing them
I
and
don't
telling
think
them
so.
your agenda.
There's something about sitting behind the mic here and now going to the ground and listening to the people. For a very long time, I sat behind the mic.
Yeah.
And I would talk about politicians, interview them. You'd be seated here seeing that you can offer solutions. Not until now, you are involved in it in a day-to-day. That's when you realize it's a very different thing altogether.
How different is it? That's what we're trying to understand. Exactly how different is it? How
The
different are you
difference
finding
is,
it when you
where-
go out and engage with the community?
The difference is politics is one of the biggest equalizers in life, where you sit there and Mama Mboga actually runs on you and tell you know nothing. Your boda guy tells you, listen, you can't do anything here until I say so. You get? And you have to humble yourself. People who you want to help are the people who already have solutions about what they want. And you're finding it even hard to articulate your issues because you already have issues. That's why, to me, actually just want to be a partner with the people of Langata. Not just a leader, a partner in providing solutions to the problems of Langata.
You said providing solutions or in enacting solutions? Because you've said, from what you've seen, the people you want to represent understand their problems and even understand the solutions.
There's something called participatory leadership, where you don't come here and tell us, nitaleta maji, nitaleta stima, yet you've not gone and asked them, what is it really that you people want? Okay? We'll be talking about kuleta stima, kumbe shida yao kubwa
System.
ni maji, you see? But you already have your manifesto and you want to bombard them with it, yet, these are not the things that they really want. So that's where the problem is. So you go in and be a partner with them, talk to them, listen to them, let you know what they're going through, be in their shoes, then you can actually decide on what do we do or how do we get solutions to our problems.
And how do you deal with that? Because, of course, Langata is big. It's not homogeneous.
Yeah.
You will go into one part of Langata, the issue is Maji. The next part, the issue is Stima.
So now, Langata is actually the biggest constituency in Nairobi, stretching from ICD Mombasa Road here, covering the whole of South Sea, down to Baricho Road, then the whole of Nairobi West. Then you take up on Bagathi, the whole of High Rise, bordering Kibra at Lindi Ward. Then down you go to Raila Village, then to Mugumoini. Mugumoini is where people know as Langata, where we have the Wilsons of today, Amref, that stretch of Langata Road. Then it goes and borders Ngong. And Ngong on Ngong Road. Then on this side, Rongai.
So Langata borders Kajiado County.
Kajiado County.
Okay.
And on this other end,
Machakos County.
Machakos.
Okay.
That's how huge. So Langata is very diverse.
What's the population?
Right now, as we talk registered, let's talk about the registered numbers of voters first. We have 147,400 registered voters with up to almost 512,000 people who in a daily live in Langata and either go through Langata, do business there. That's the population.
About 500,000 people
would easily be there. But then again, what makes Langata different is we have much land. Now the whole park is in Langata. Then the Karen area, which is not densely populated like that. So in Langata, you have somebody today who is running to achieve some fitness and health issues. There's somebody else
who's running to go to work.
Who's running to go to work, or who has slept hungry,
or running away from something.
or running away from something.
So somebody who is looking to achieve fitness, lose weight, and there's somebody who has not had a meal.
Yes, because when you talk about Karen, people just think Karen is the affluent part of it. We have like slums there. We have Karinde, we have Kuwinda, we have Gataka, we have Bangladesh on that other end. So when people talk about Karen, the Karen that is not what
Karen actually
Karen actually is. Because now, in a typical home in Karen, you'd easily have 5 workers. Where do these workers come from? Definitely from the slums around there. Who are the major voters there? Then you come down, again now where we have Raila Village and the decanting, where people moved from Kibra, where Raila was building the new high-rise buildings. But then there are people who didn't move into those homes. They went ahead and they live in the slums now. It's a place called Maskuma and also Raila Village. Then on this other end, we have Wilson. It's crazy. But the truth is, Langata should just work for Langata people. That's it.
As a member of parliament, your job would be to go and articulate the issues of Langata
Yes.
in the National Assembly.
Yes.
Okay? And this is not dealing with water, daily, steamer, garbage, and such. It is dealing with something else. Because the job of Maji, steamer, security, and all is the various MCAs. And how many wards in Langata?
5 of them.
The 5 MCAs from Langata going to the Nairobi County Assembly to articulate and ensure that there is budgetary allocation that can go and sort out the issues, or policy and programs that go and sort out the issues in Langata. So where then do you see yourself as the one? What are you, when the people are telling you these are our issues?
Now, let me
What's
tell you,
your promise?
the people, number one, do not understand that water issue is not your issue. Okay? You see everything that you've listed. They still believe that, you know what, you must be the part of the solution of these things. All right? So it's just not about representation. It is actually also lobbying for some of these things to work out. Langata has one of the biggest water problems in this country. Langata itself. We have a place called NHC building with more than 1,600 homes. They receive water at least once in a week. You can imagine.
Just once.
Once in a week. And if they are lucky, twice. There's a new, very posh estate coming up. It's called Royal Park in Mugumoini. Beautiful homes. They've never been connected to the grid to date.
Grid ya stima?
Yeah, Maji.
Oh, okay.
Then we have Dam Estate. It's called Dam Estate. But there's no water in the dam.
There's high sink in the dam.
You get, so if there's one thing that I would want to really make sure that I do, is to just ensure that we sorted this water problem once and for all.
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned it, because that is what I wanted to ask you. Does the whole of Nairobi get their water from one source?
They say we depend on Dakaini Dam. Okay? Then to the reservoirs for the Nairobi water. Then they decide who gets it, when, and how. All right? So I've always known and always... I know that Dakaini is where our water comes from, Dakaini Dam. I don't know any other place where this water comes from. But now, if Dakaini is full and the reservoirs are full, why can't you just let water come? All right? Why the rationing? So you get in, and when you start following up, that's when you get the old problems. This water bowsers and all, I'm telling you.
The business.
That is where the business is. Then illegal connections, that's where the business is. Water could be flowing every day. But for somebody else's business to go on well, you must miss water so that they bring it to you. Yeah, so those are the things we are dealing with.
So what would you do?
Of course, yes.
What are you promising the people of Langata?
Of course, yes. At NHC, they have a borehole that they've always wanted us to commission. I went there, we saw it, but then I was told that I spoke to the MD Nairobi Water. It's called Muguna, Engineer Muguna. He said that, you know what, we can't do anything right now because the tender has already been awarded for the borehole to be completed and all.
Okay.
Then again, how many boreholes can you sink in an area?
Yeah.
Only enough. But then we could sink a few, have our own reservoir, and supply Langata. That's it.
You know, as you say it, because that is what came to my mind. When you have the areas we have within Nairobi and this population which keeps increasing, decentralizing even the source of water, is that not something that should have been considered? Because if you look at electricity and how electricity is actually channeled out, you will find that depending on the population and area, the very, very people who distribute electricity will make sure that they increase the distribution points so that you know that, yes, electricity comes, but it sits here before it actually now is farmed out.
That's true.
To the various places.
I wish water would be like that too. But the people involved in the water business are not seeing it like that. They need you to miss water. They don't want you to have water so that their business is on. That's it.
Which means they're more powerful than the authorities, or the authorities are the ones who are involved in that particular business.
Can you imagine paying rent, 30,000, and buying water again for more than 20,000 in a month?
It's costing you more than 60,000 shillings to live in that
To
house.
live in that house.
Let's take a break. It's 9:30. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. Felix Oduor JALANG'O wants to be the next member of parliament for Langata constituency. He's here with us in the studio, first-time politician, giving us the experience that he's going through, giving us an understanding of what he is getting from the people of Langata and what their needs are, and then seeing, okay, so how do you deliver this? Remember, Langata, I think, is one of those constituencies within Nairobi that has also been mapped by the NCIC as possible hotspots for violence if things go south. And we've got to keep preaching peace. NCIC and SpiceFM are working together to just champion campaign, elections, bila norma. And of course, we'll ask you to go back to the people and tell them election bila norma is the way to go, right?
That's true.
Yeah. Time for a break. We'll be back shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
25 minutes to 10. The conversation continues with JALANG'O, who wants to be the next member of parliament for Langata constituency. JALANG'O, you've told us you've gotten into this with a clean heart, with the aim to transform the lives of the people of Langata. We've often heard that politics is dirty. Politics is rough. You told us yourself that even just going through the party nomination exercise was tough. Baptism by fire. And then now you're dealing with it. What are the challenges that one encounters? Okay, one of them was, of course, going to the community, and the community tells you, we are the bosses, we know what our problems are, and we know what our solutions would be, and we're looking for somebody who can offer those solutions. But there must be some more issues here and there, thorns on the road.
Oh, definitely one of the biggest thorns is the financial implications around it. Moving around, facilitation for the meetings, and definitely maneuvering through the vast constituency is another challenge.
So it's expensive.
It's a very expensive affair.
How much?
You can't quantify it because each and every single day it keeps on changing. You could have a budget that you want, and more people come to your event, and maybe you could facilitate their transports. When you want people on a Monday morning at a venue, it means that they have closed down their businesses and stopped whatever they are doing to come and listen to you. And some of the places where we go, people might want transport facilitation and things like that. All right, maybe you're seated with people and you give maybe refreshments and things like that. That one is a cost that you'll always incur.
So on average, how much would you spend every day on meetings and mobilization?
You can't say how much. You really can't say.
Average. I mean, is it 10,000, 100,000, 500,000?
It's a lot. And I can't say that there's a day I said I'm going to spend 50K. And it's that 50K that I spent. I either spent less or even spent more. So there's no budget. There's no political budget.
Let me ask the question. What do you spend money on?
What you spend money on first is transport. You see, you have your campaign trucks. You have your campaign team. You have your MCs. You have your drivers. You have people moving. That is just for transport moving, their meals and all. Okay? Then when you get to a venue, hiring a hall, because we are doing a lot of town halls. In Langata, we decided a lot of town hall makes much sense. You listen to people more, and they listen to you, and you articulate issues more. So when you get to a town hall, hiring of the venue, the seats, maybe you have refreshments for the people sitting down in an hour or for an hour or two listening to you. You'd either even sometimes buy lunch for them at the facility. So those are some of the costs that come in.
So there's the hospitality.
The hospitality in it.
And then now you called it facilitation.
Yes.
Why are people being paid to attend your meeting?
We are not paying anyone to attend our meetings. What we are saying is that we facilitate for them to come. You understand? Let's say I'm going to Karen Ward, and the grounds where I am is that can carry the number of people that I want is, say, at Catholic University.
Okay.
People are moving all the way from Gataka. People are moving all the way from, let's say, Forest View. You understand? So you tell them that, you know what, come. This is your leaders will organize on how you guys will be here. Yeah, those are some of the facilitation that we are talking about.
So it's the
logistics are around
of
it,
bringing them there,
but not paying people that, hey, kwa sababu umekuja shika. Then
kila mtu lunch.
I don't think so, no.
So are they demanding? Are they demanding cash handouts?
They are not demanding.
Are they expecting cash handouts?
No, they're not expecting it, because we are not telling them we are giving them. What we are doing is to make sure that we facilitate that they are at the venue.
You know, one of the things that...
or are you people talking about handouts?
That's what I'm asking. Are they asking for handouts?
No.
Right? Are you giving handouts?
Langata is a bit civilized. We are much civilized. They want to listen to you. They want you to talk about their issues more. They value what they will listen and what you'll talk about more than what you want to give them. Okay. Yes.
Beyond water, what have the constituents of Langata told you they consider to be a priority?
Definitely, the young people there will always talk about unemployment, and it's very absurd that Langata is one of the places where we have so many institutions that would easily absorb these young people. From ICD here, then you come up, unapata Ole Sereni iko hapo, unapata Eka hoteli iko hapo. Hapo mbele, Kebs is in Langata, NEMA is in Langata,
Boma Hotel,
Kenya Literature is in Langata, Kenya Bureau, Kenya School of Law, Monetary Studies, Riara University, Strathmore, Cooperative University. There are so many institutions, government and private institutions that would easily offer employment. But most of them just ask, there's no one to help us knock these doors. Knock these doors to also help us in getting this employment. So that is one thing I also want to help and try, because it's just not going to knock, it's making sure that are actually qualified for some of these jobs that they do. But if for example, today, I went to the carnival, who I have a good relationship with. You know me, I'm coming from the private sector, where I've dealt with these people for a very long time. And we knock doors and tell them that, hey, you guys are hiring people. These are some 3 or 4 people from my constituency. This institution is in the constituency. Would you mind to hire these qualified people? If you knock doors, that is what that bigger voice that I was talking about much earlier. If I went, even if it's casual jobs and all, why would you have a staff van bringing people from I don't know where to come and you have people?
At the ICD.
People have
That would require, though, a better structured way of dealing.
Yes.
Do you have a proposal for that, a better structured way of dealing, where people, for example, apply or they send their names and you have a database of the various people who are looking for jobs, their various qualifications and skill set, and then you are able then to take that database to the very many employers and tell them, just get into this database and see who you can pick.
In my manifesto, I'm one of the few MNAs that actually had their manifestos out much earlier. I talked about having a resource center in every ward where these young people would come in and get some of these things, these resources for free, where you have your internet going on there. There's somebody to help you, maybe do an application, print some of these things, put you on a database and all. And definitely what you're saying is something I could easily pick, where I would have maybe an app, Langata constituency app, where if you log in, you'd see the different young people, the different skills and all, and we would be able to point and say, this is Eric, this is Titi, he can be able to do this and this. And it's something I might be able to do.
Okay, so unemployment is big.
Very
and
big.
solutions for unemployment are wide and varied.
Is in Langata. The solution is in Langata.
Okay.
Yes.
What other challenges are there?
Wow. The other big challenge is land grabbing. I think Langata is one of the places that has faced that so much. People have really grabbed land there, and even community playgrounds, community open spaces. It is a fight that I don't want to get myself into now, but we must reclaim some of these places where was actually meant to be for community open places, must be community open places for community use. But you find so many people have grabbed those kind of spaces. There are thousands and one cases from Ngei too, where these guys have been using this playground for the longest time. It's been a community open space. Somebody just moved in a container claiming that is his land. And
that's it.
And you can't do anything.
Really?
Yes.
And people no longer have access to this public land.
We were at Ngei the other day, and the community are now coming together. There's a case already in court. But the audacity that some of these land grabbers have, this, you see, Ngei estate is a gated community. All right? There's a gate, and then there's this land. And you move in and decide that, you know what, this is my land.
But let me ask, if you were to look at the ownership of that land and the title that represents that ownership, in whose name is that title?
You see, some of these spaces were never allocated title deeds, okay? It was just the community open space when the estates were being built. Langata was one of the well-structured estates. If you go into the old homes, the Ngeis, the Onyonkas, the Utiendes and all, it was a good home, good space for the kids to play, community center and all. But right now, somebody would just go put up a title deed. What can you do? If there was no title.
Actually,
Yeah.
So it's just the community to come out aggressively and say that, you know what, this is it. So what most of the people are doing are making sure that the title deeds are now registered under the estates.
The estate
Yes.
itself.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
that
big
is
one.
another very, very big issue. Yes.
About the amenities that you've talked about, you say every time you go to places, you've got to hire a venue. All right. So let's talk about public social halls and such public amenities. Secondly, talk about schools and hospitals. Do we have sufficient number of schools to cater for the children in Langata constituency?
Wow.
Public schools.
They're not enough. Look, for example, High Rise Ward, where Joash Olum Secondary School is the only public high school there, with a population of more than 200,000 people. And the only hall at High Rise is Canaan Hall, where you have to line up because there's an event on a daily because it's the only available public hall. So those are some of the things that we must do. And Langata also needs an extra the four-star level 4 hospital in that place.
How many hospitals does it actually have? Yes.
You see, we really depend on St. Mary's,
Which is a private
which
hospital.
is a private hospital, and definitely Mbagathi. Then we have a lot of other private hospitals. We have Nairobi West Hospital here. We have others in South Sea, but public health
facilities
are very few.
There's a dispensary in Gay, is it?
Yes, it's a dispensary in Gay. There's a dispensary in Gay. Then there's also this one that NMS did put up at High Rise, and they're not enough. The population is huge.
So they need more.
They need more.
More needs to be built. As a member of parliament, knowing that health is devolved, what would you do?
Lobby. That's it. Simple. Lobby for one. Try and push so that you go knock those doors. You know, most people just think it's just legislations and all. But lobbying, I think, is one of the biggest things that is left for a member of parliament.
You know,
because if you're not aggressive enough, the queue is long of people trying to.
Everybody has a need.
Everybody has a need. Before a member of parliament from Kapsabet gets to Kera to ask, or Kura to ask for a road to be built, you have to be aggressive enough. You need to knock those doors. You need to lobby enough for your people to have some of these things.
So what are your priorities? If elected as member of parliament, what are the priority areas that you see in the first 1 year, first 2 years, I've got to see change starting to happen in these 2 sectors or 3 sectors?
Like I told you earlier, I just don't want to be a leader. Remember, I told you I want to be a partner and put up a participatory leadership skill where we need to sit back. The problems of South Sea are very different with the problems in Nyayo High Rise. And they're very different with problems in Karen. Very different with problems in Mugumweni or Nairobi West. So they already have their committees and structures. So we first want to sit down with these leaders, the ward leaders, and list the priorities or the things that they want to prioritize first. That this is where we want, this in this area, this is what we want, this is what we want. Then from that, we start moving together and we work together to achieve solutions. I can't say that in the first 100 days, this is it. As much as water is a very key thing to my heart, this issue of water in Langata, I think it will be one of the first things that we need to push. Even if it's sinking a few boreholes immediately, we will. Yes.
You know, one of the things that I think one listens to, one hears, but one doesn't actually understand. Let me talk about myself. I don't understand. If I go to the Ministry of Health, I'm sure they'll have a blueprint of what it is they want to do for the health sector. If I go to the Ministry of Education, they'll have a blueprint. And for literally every constituency we have in the country. Now, you talk about lobbying. Okay? What can lobbying actually achieve? If there isn't something already budgeted for whatever it is that you want, if it hasn't even been prioritized that it will be done. The reason why I mentioned this is I think of something like roads, for instance. I remember I had a conversation with my member of parliament in the rural home that I come from. And I had never understood how these processes work until he explained it to me. That even if it is budgeted, even if it is allocated, actually getting it to the point where you may even tender for it. You may even know who is going to build it. But to the point where it actually gets done, he says it takes a very, very long time. Now, from your understanding of this, if you are going to become the member of parliament for Langata, and there are all these issues that you've laid out, and from what I have been told and understand, it takes a very, very long process. What do you think your lobbying will help achieve?
It comes back to what I told you. Yes. Let's say it's a road in Nairobi West. First, it will be to first know who is in charge of this road. Okay, you know, it's only in Kenya where roads have
Owners.
Owners.
or the authorities, authorities around it. You don't know where it's Kura, Kera, Kenha. Is it a county road or what? So first to just know who is in charge. All right. If it was funds allocated, can we push so that funds are allocated to this? Because definitely the different departments in government have funds, and they are, by the time they are sitting down and making their budgets, they are allocating. So can we have some of this roads of ours be allocated money? That is where now lobbying is. Because some of these things are even tendered. There even a contractor who is supposed to come on site. But for him even to come, you see. So going to ask and tell this guy, boss, you'd already been given this contract. Why are you not on site? Why are you not working? You see, those are some of the work now you push and be aggressive about. But my lobbying would actually make things work.
Why?
I think from where I come from and the aggressiveness that I have will knock those doors. Go for an instance here in Embakasi East. If you see the job Babu Owino has done with the roads, I asked him, where do you even get this money from? When other people are crying. Where
What's
do you
his
get
answer?
this?
What's his secret? What's his
He
formula?
said, boss, me, I go and ask for this thing. I just don't sit in parliament. I go, if it's scary, I go there and sit there and make sure that you know what, these things are done. You go there once or twice or thrice and they see you. They'll tell you, boss, tumekubali, tunaenda kutengeneza. And then when it's tendered and the contract is offered, go out there to that contractor and tell them, boss, you've already been given this contract. What is holding you back from coming to site? Those are some of the things that...
Do you think that's the right thing?
Yes.
It is not the
way
right thing to do. It is not the right thing. We have the ideal, but we have the reality. Let's not lie to you. We are in Kenya, boss.
No, we
How
understand.
how many times have you heard that a road has been in the books that it is complete? According to the Kenyan government, this road is complete,
Oh, those
tarmacked, and we have street lights. When you go there, there's nothing. It's still a bush. Just because this guy, when this tender was offered and all, he did not push. He did not go and ask. He does not even know the contractor. And all.
Accountability.
The accountability. Go there and represent your people well. Go there and ask things for your people. Let things be done. Some of these things we hold back, yet it is with the voice that you have, you can have it done.
You can get it done.
Yes.
Jalang'o, as we conclude, there are many people who, as they go into this election, they would say, look, we tried young people, especially from the entertainment sector and, student leaders and all in the last two elections, and we feel let down. There's a journalist, there's a musician, and they just say,
don't compare me with
we
we will not sit here and you compare me, Eric, with other people.
Do you think?
No, give me a chance and try me, so that when they complain, they
From your
complain about
experience.
Jalang'o. They're not complaining about somebody
I want to
else.
ask you, from your experience,
No.
do you think it is a fair judgment?
No, it's not a fair
limited.
judgment.
Why?
It's not a fair judgment because we've not been given a chance. We are different. You guys are journalists here. We have how many radio stations? Many, all right, doing the same job. But there are few that are being listened to. You understand? So you can't judge a radio station somewhere that has zero listenership with what you are doing. And then you say that all radio stations in Kenya are work. No. I'm seated here in the biggest radio show in the morning. You understand? The biggest conversation, because I know the value of this conversation. You understand? And that's why I didn't go somewhere else. And you called me and I came because I know. So I can't compare this. Yes, they are both radio stations, but you can't compare them.
Felix, what you say is true. But remember, a representation in this country is one of the most misused positions that anybody can ever come across. You look at the budgeting, you look at the money that are available, and you look at what has actually been done, or the absence of what ought to be done. It all goes down to representation. So when somebody is aspiring to represent the people, unfortunately, we must drag you through the coals for the simple reason that too many people make too many promises which they never fulfill. And at the end of those promises, or broken promises, are people whose lives get worse instead of having gotten better, because the promises were that the lives will be better.
You know, the thing is, number one is when you do not understand your role. You go out there, maybe you're popular, you have a name, or you have money to sway votes your way. Then when you get in, that's when you realize, kumbe, this job was not what I applied for.
Yeah.
But you see, like I told you, first I went to understand what leadership is. And where I took a course where I can work with the community. You see, know them and understand them. What we can do together and what we can do. Do not overpromise, but be loud enough about the things you've been able to do and be able to achieve. And I will be loud about them. And people will see a different side of me in leadership, not just in comedy, not just in marketing, not just in running a marketing agency and things like that. Not in the entertainment, but also being in the creative industry. I think the youth of Langata are very lucky. If you have talent and all, this is the time. This is the time that one of your own is going to make sure that you blow up soon and very soon.
JALANG'O, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, and I don't want to leave without sending a few shout-outs to my people.
Please do.
You can't have called me here and don't ask me to ask for votes.
Salam. Ombakura.
I want to really thank my Langata family and the Langata people from Mugumoini, Karen, Nairobi West, South Sea, and High Rise, all the 5 wards. Thank you so much for everything that you've done to me so far. The meetings that we've had, the campaign trail that we're having. I'm still asking you humbly to continue holding me as we go through this last remaining 29 days. We are here to make Langata a better place and the model constituency in Nairobi. Vote for me. My name is Felix Odiwuor. I was not able to get the name JALANG'O on the ballot paper, and that's why it is just Felix Odiwuor. The reason is we signed an affidavit definitely with a party, and the certificate read JALANG'O, but IBC said, you know what, this affidavit cannot pass here. Okay. So we remain.
So the name on the ballot paper is
Felix Odiwuor,
and the party symbol
is Chungwa, ODM.
ODM,
yes,
the orange.
The orange.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Thank you for the chance.
Asante.